Welcome to a Community Partners interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily life. I'm your host, Jocelyn Dore, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Victoria Vass, the founder and chair for Board of Directors for Our Life After Burns. Our Life After Burns are committed to fostering an environment of equity, diversity, and inclusion in serving their community without bias. They acknowledge the diverse backgrounds and experiences of their members and strive to ensure that their services, programs, and resources are accessible and responsive to the needs of all. They're dedicated to eliminating barriers to participation and empowering individuals to achieve their full potential. Together, they stand in solidarity with burn survivors, caregivers, and their loved ones, advocating for a world where every individual's journey is honored and supported. Thank you for joining us today, Victoria.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Tell us a bit more about you and what inspired you to establish Our Life After Burns and to work with individuals with disabilities.
For sure, yeah. So I am a burn survivor of almost 23 years. I was burned when I was 9 years old up in Muskoka, Ontario, when I fell into a pot. So I was burned 20% of my body, third-degree burns. And I spent 1 month at Sick Kids Hospital, and I was left with lifelong scars. So a few years ago, I decided that I wanted to help other burn survivors, and I decided I wanted to join a peer support group so that I could see how I was doing and kind of check in with myself. And I found that there wasn't any sort of group in Ontario, which I thought was unacceptable. So I found some people through the Canadian Burn Survivors community, and I'm also on the board with them as well since 2021. And I started a peer support group, and in the last 4 years, we've done many peer support groups, a peer support group for loved ones and caregivers and supporters. And we started doing educational sessions with speakers. And then once some rules lifted, we were able to start meeting in person. So my goal really was to build a community in Ontario so that I would have somewhere to go when I felt like I needed it. And I knew that other people's would benefit from it as well.
While doing my research, I saw that you have some programs that you offer. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yes, so we try to make everything free for people, and we try to make everything accessible in terms of being able to get to the location and supporting people with transportation as well. So we meet around the Greater Toronto area. We also try to kind of move things around as well so that some people that live in the west or the east side can easier attend. And so we have a yearly Thriving After Burns event, which is more of a conference style event where we have speakers, we have peer support groups in person, lunch, and just a lot of different activities and places and spaces to connect. So Life After Burns is really about facilitating spaces for people to connect with each other and for people to share their experiences and their stories. And so that event is kind of our big event of the year. We do have, and that's in the spring. And then we do have a winter holiday party coming up on November 16th. And so we do that every year as just more of a fun thing where people just can get together and have some food, have some, play some games, have some chats, just get everyone together. And so we're completely volunteer run. So it's all thanks to our volunteers that we can put this on and from friendly donors as well, so that we can purchase items that we need. And so we also run a virtual peer support group for loved ones and caregivers and supporters once a month at the last Thursday of the month. And we are part of the Canadian Burn Survivors Community Peer Support Group in terms of I support them with kind of the admin side and getting the word out and making sure that runs smoothly. And throughout the year, we'll do different things like yoga class or a paint session, sound bath. So kind of wellness workshops as well as meetups. So we've done a walk, we went to a farm, we went to a museum tour. So it's really about just, like I said, facilitating these spaces so that people can get together, and it encourages people to get out of their homes and hang out with other burn survivors and loved ones so that they don't feel so alone. That's really our bottom line, is that nobody has to go through this journey alone.
So there's also a section on your website called Share Your Story. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Definitely. So we encourage people to share their stories. I can say from personal experience, when I first joined the peer support group, I was really scared and terrified. Every time I had to, or I knew I had to talk, the adrenaline would just start pumping. I was really uncomfortable with it. And I never thought that my story was important. I thought, oh, nobody wants to hear this. And through forcing myself to share my story and really hearing other people's stories and recognizing that if I can be moved or touched or inspired by other people's stories, I can do the same for others. So we really encourage people to share their story when they're ready, and it can be a scary thing, but it supports the community in terms of, for people that might not be ready to share their story, hearing from others and learning from others. That's what's really humbled me. That's what's helped me grow, is learning through other people's experiences. It's showed me what others have gone through, and it's helped me connect with others as well, and in turn myself. So our your story page is really about getting the voices out there, getting people's experiences out there, and allowing that space for others that might not be ready to start to feel more comfortable to share their own story.
So I also noticed on your website that you have some merchandise. So what kind of things can people buy at your shop?
Yeah, so we love our merchandise. So we have mugs with our logo on it, as well as Peggy, who is our vice chair of the board, and she's a mother of a burn survivor. So her mom, so the grandma of a burn survivor, is a very talented embroiderer. So we also have canvas tote bags and t-shirts, and they're both hand embroidered by her with lots of love. So yeah, you can find those on the website. We have all sizes of t-shirts, and it's just a simple e-transfer, and we'll get you the merchandise as soon as possible.
Without using any names, can you share a success story with me? What supports were put in place when someone asked for help?
We've had a few, I can think of a few success stories, but definitely there is someone that I spoke to that told me that they were incredibly closed off before joining Life After Burns. They felt incredibly alone and isolated. And once they gently started joining the peer support groups and finally felt ready to come to an in-person event, it really changed the trajectory of their life. So since joining, they've been able to talk about their story, show their scars a little bit more, and begin to accept what has happened. I think a lot of burn survivors go through the why me question, like, well, how could this happen to me? And that's a very deep emotional and even spiritual journey that people have to go through. And what I'm seeing a lot is that it's always better together and within a community than going at it alone. So there's a lot of work on your own, and there's a great support in community as well to support your journey.
What is something that you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be? And how do you think it could be stopped?
Burn injuries create a challenge, right? Some sort of amputation, a limited mobility. It can result in vision and hearing loss, different sort of muscle weaknesses, chronic pain, chronic nerve pain, skin tightness, and then PTSD, anxiety, depression. And all these can become, and often do become, lifelong complications. And as well, society often doesn't respond well to people with a burn injury. They don't know how to react. And there's definitely a stigma that comes along with looking different and maybe not being able to do certain things. There's a lot of responsibility placed on survivors to explain themselves to others. It's like it's kind of like it can sometimes be an elephant in the room that people might be staring and they won't ask the questions. So there's a lot of responsibilities placed on survivors to share their story or deal with these kinds of stares or questions. And sometimes people don't, people can ask some pretty challenging questions by accident. I don't think people mean to be hurtful. They just don't know how to maybe navigate things. But I think it would be great to put some responsibility onto others and to society to support burn survivors. And it's also important to get curious. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Are there any events coming up for our life after burns? I know you talked a little bit about your holiday party, but is there anything else you have coming up?
Yeah, so the holiday party is in November, and then we don't have our date set yet for our Thriving After Burns event, but it will be one of the first few Saturdays of May. And like I said, our events are in Toronto, so in November. It's going to be on near Bloor and Spadina, and we're yet to figure out our space for May. But there's always something new coming up, whether it's a virtual or in-person event, and we collaborate with the Canadian Burn Survivors community because there's also more support there virtually. So as right now, yeah, those are our two upcoming big events that people can attend.
If someone wanted to become a member or volunteer with Our Life After Burns, what is the process for becoming a member and for becoming a volunteer?
So to become a member, you can just reach out to me. We have a few forms on our website that you can fill out. So if you want to join a burn survivor peer support group, the loved ones group, or just generally sign up to our email list, or have a chat with me or someone else that's a trained volunteer. We You can reach out to us pretty easily on Instagram or Facebook or through my email, and I basically navigate what that person would like to gain from life after burn. So I'll give people all the options. Would you like to join a group, virtual, in person, one-on-one? Would you like to speak with me? Would you like to speak with a loved one? So a loved one of a survivor. It really depends on how they want to connect. And I like to lay out all the options from the beginning so that people can kind of make their own path, create their own journey. And I just like to lay it all out there so that they know what's available to them. So, yeah, really just reaching out like that. I will also set up a phone call or a virtual call so that I can connect with them and um, maybe give them some comfort in knowing who I am and what they can expect.
What is the one thing that everyone needs to know about our life after burn?
Ooh, that's a great question. One thing, putting it all into one thing, I guess we really just want to empower each other, empower this community to take the reins on their own healing because it is a very personal journey. And so life after burns, we stand with other burn survivors and the community. We walk alongside them and we just want to be there as needed. If they can someone and something that they can turn to when they feel like they want to or they need to, we're always there to support them in whatever way that we can.
If listeners are looking for more information, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, www.lifeafterburns.ca, and there's lots of ways to kind of fill out a form, a contact us form. My email's also up there, ourlifeafterburns@gmail.com. And they can shoot me an email or fill out a contact form, or if they're more comfortable with Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, they can shoot us a message there. And myself, will reach out to them within a week to discuss options and whatever they would like to talk about.
Sounds good. Thanks again for joining us today. I really enjoyed learning about our life after burns.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me and for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
This has been a community partners interview on Voices for Ability Radio. All abilities, all the time.